values, bringing through your radio in-depth reporting of stories that helps you to develop a deeper understanding of issues.
Hello, good evening. It's 5 p.m. Welcome to 505. Coming up tonight, 3 teacher unions with combined membership of more than 300,000 are threatening to withdraw their services next week over their conditions of service.
The successful applicant, those that has been promoted, must be put on payroll on or before 31st August 2026. Failure to do this is tantamount to the declaration of war.
Stay with us as we speak to them about their plans, which will disrupt teaching and learning in basic schools across the country. Also coming up this evening, Accra Metropolitan Assembly to hold a crunch meeting with officials of the Ministry of Transport and the Transport Coordinating Council to find a way to stop floating commercial drivers from charging unapproved fares.
Very soon, the mayor is planning to do another major consultation. In the coming days, we'll have some consultations.
Meanwhile, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly says it's a clamp down on commercial drivers who charge unauthorized fees has yielded some results.
There's been a little reduction in the reportage of illegal charging of lorry fares, but I wouldn't say it is a total stop because we still have some drivers who wouldn't go to the various stations.
What's still to come in tonight, a bulletin government to create jobs through the just opened North Shore Apparel Hub initiative in the northern region.
North Shore has made nonsense of all the arguments about factors of production. And so the 24-hour economy is designed to achieve the creation of jobs and accelerated exports. And North Shore certifies both because it's created at least 2,000 jobs already.
We'll hear from the presidential advisor on the 24-hour economy who says the initiative targets 10,000 direct jobs.
At full capacity, North Shore Apparel expects to employ about 10,000 people directly. Among them will be persons with disabilities. This particular inclusion of differently able persons in the workforce of North Shore Apparel is eminently commendable.
Well, tonight on 505, also bring you a special report on a family pushing to have the body of their relative who was killed in South Africa during the height of xenophobic attacks brought to Ghana for befitting burial.
I am pleading with Okudzeto Ablakwa to bring down the mortal remains of my son.
Well, stay tuned for this worrying developments, these and more, about tonight on In Business.
Ghana Exim Bank to prioritize high-impact projects in new lending strategy. We'll tell you more at 5:50.
These are more stories plus some interesting analysis. Stay with us. Well, this bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at digital address GL0423598, North Laboni, third day work on class 91.3 FM in Accra. We also live on Who FM 92.5, Hills 91.7 at Daklo, both in the Volta region, Max Empire 96.9, Albazua in the Upper East region, Dagon FM 102.5 in Tamale, Radio Power 96 in Spain. We're live on Facebook. Connect with us or join us with your thoughts, comments, and contributions with the hashtag 505, alternatively through our WhatsApp number 0500,000 202. My name is Kwame Okyere Jnr. It's time. It's 505. Welcome. Well, 505 is always brought to you by MTN everywhere you go. Now to the very first story. More than 300,000 teachers could withdraw their services from Monday, August 31, 2026 over delays in placing promoted teachers in their appropriate salary scales. The three teacher unions, NATS, NAGRATS, and the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana say more than 100,000 teachers who passed their promotion examinations in 2025 have remained on their old salary scales for more than a year. The unions are demanding that the affected teachers be placed on a new salary scale with effect from December 2025 instead of July 2026. NAT General Secretary Thomas Tanko Musa says governments will be held responsible for any disruption to teaching and learning if the planned withdrawal goes ahead. The unions are therefore urging governments and the relevant agencies to resolve the matter before Monday to prevent the disruption.
Teacher unions, we have no option than to make it clear that the automatic promotion of teachers or placement of teachers on the required grade as where they should be on the promotion as of the results that came out, they should be put on the respective scales by close of work on Monday, 31st August 2026, as promised by the Ghana Education Service. Failure to do so, whatever happens thereafter, His Excellency should hold the agency heads responsible. We, the teacher unions, we cannot restrain any teacher from that particular day. We are saying we have done all within our power to make sure that this matter is resolved, but to no avail. We have been treated unfairly, we have been treated unkindly, and it looks like when we are speaking, people don't want to listen, and people think they can do as they please. We are telling them enough is enough.
So that's the General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. While the President of the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana, Ken Ali Awudu, said the unions will not back down unless the affected teachers were placed on a payroll by August 31.
The teacher was due for promotion in September 2024. The teacher was not promoted. And then in December 2025, aptitude test was made available for the teacher to write. The teacher wrote the aptitude test for promotion in December 2025. The results for the exams was released in April 2025. 2026. The teacher was not put on payroll after the results has been released. And the teacher is supposed to be put on payroll in August 2026. GES comes out and says that as the norm, the teachers will all automatically be put on payroll in August 2026. Only for us to be told that one, Controller and Accountant General had issued a directive that they will not allow GES to continue the status quo of using the list of successful applicants in promotion to be put on payroll. To us as leaders of the teacher union, we are asking for two things. One, we are not accepting the July 2026 substantive date. We are asking that the substantive date be moved to December 2025. That is one. And then two, by hook or crook, the successful applicant, those that has been promoted, must be put on payroll on or before 31st August 2026. Failure to do this is tantamount to the declaration of war.
So that's the president of the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana, Ken Ali Awudu. While presidents of NAGRAT, Jacob Anaba, also criticized the prolonged delay, saying the affected teachers had suffered financial losses for more than a year.
The situation is that our constitution that we all uphold, 1992, Article 190, states that we have public services, and there are about 19 of them. We are one of them. It is only our service, when we are promoted, becomes a public issue. Why should it be that? Because nobody cares about the teacher. Nobody thinks about us. If we are promoted, it should be placed on scale immediately. It is done in the other services. Why is it that the teaching service we don't have it? So our teachers have been promoted. In fact, they suffered for more than 1 year, not being promoted. Now they have been promoted, and they are asking them to bring certain documents. In the first place, you asked them to apply. They did, and they gave you documents. Where are those documents? Use those documents to place them on scale. That is all we are asking for.
So that's the president of NAGRAT, Jacob Anaba, speaking there. We'll go on the phone line shortly and have a conversation with the president of the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana, Ken Ali Awudu, because Monday is when they are going on strike. I mean, laying down their tools, not going back to the classroom to teach. And of course, the only English or word they want to hear from governments is that the payments will be done from the stipulated time they are demanding of government. Unfortunately, we do not have them on the line. As and when we get them, we'll put them on the line. This is 505 here on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. Well, floating drivers here in Accra are defying calls, arrests, and charges by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly seeking to deter them from charging unapproved fares. During peak hours, the Assembly began a clampdown on drivers found guilty of charging unauthorized fares during peak hours. This week, in collaboration with judicial institutions, 6 drivers who were arrested for charging illegal fares have been fined. However, the problem continues to persist. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly has therefore announced plans to meet with the Transport Ministry, the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, and other stakeholders in the coming days to find a lasting solution to the problem. According to the Assembly, despite deploying task forces to restore order, these drivers continue to flout the law. Speaking to Class News, the head of public relations for the Assembly, Gilbert Ankra, said the mayor, Michael Bakbo Alote, has initiated processes with the relevant bodies to address the matter urgently.
Really picking them again and charging them other fares. So that has happened to these 6. They paid their fine yesterday. Yesterday, the task force moved out there. There were some specific stations we are still monitoring to see whether, of course, for these stations as well, they are also charging. Most of the approved stations we visited yesterday were not charging those unapproved fares. Today, the task force is going to move out again to ensure that, especially during the rush hours, the passengers do not pay unapproved fares.
Prior to you said some of the drivers are not attributed to any of the groups. They are the floating drivers that are taking the unapproved fares. What are you going to do about it?
That is why the Mayor, Honorable Michael Papalote, is not limiting the monitoring to only stations or approved stations. What we are doing is that he's randomly moving out to these areas where we normally have transport operators picking people, not specifically within the stations. So he can just stop you on the road and find out from passengers how much they have paid the approved fares.
So that's the public relations officer for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Gilbert Ankra. Let me speak with the General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, Emmanuel Ohene Yabwa. Mr. Yabwa, good evening to you. I'm grateful for your time on 505.
Good evening. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. I believe you are doing very well yourself. Good. Great. Has this development come to your attention? What is the GRTC's official stance on drivers charging unauthorized fares during peak hours?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this issue is an issue that has been in the public domain for some time now. And much as we are trying to resolve the problem, I think the public also has a responsibility to also help us resolving the problem. In that the giver and the taker.
Class 91.3 FM.
Sometimes some of these things we are told the passengers actually come with the offer. That idea fine so far or the cry betray. Then obviously because it's money issues, they get interested in they go on it. But no, down notwithstanding, it's not to justify that what they are doing is right. What I can also say is that the local government authorities are not helping matters because we don't have designated terminals where drivers operate from generally. So those who are not in any union, those who know us or our people, they just take advantage of the rush hour. Sorry. They just take advantage of the rush hour and ask him to do whatever they want to do because they don't come under any union and nobody is there to kind of control them. All we have also realized is that if you go to a place like Sector, where they load. Is where this thing is done largely. You always see these our security people there, the police people, the MTT people there. In their presence, they do this, and nobody talks about it. So it makes it difficult for us as officers to come out and enforce it, because by law you can't, if you charge anybody above the regulated price, you can offend. And initially it was not in the Road Traffic Act, but now it has found space in the new one that has been passed by Parliament. So I think it's about time the Ministry of Local Government and the Interior, organize a plan to be able to curb this thing. Because the unions will try our best to do this, but as it stands, we're not getting the results we want them. So I think the Ministry of Local Government and the Interior will have to step in. The support of the Ministry of Transport, if you can get the results.
I see. What is the plan B you are talking about? Because, and of course, how do you monitor fair compliance at stations and on the road? I agree with you on the other authorities who are not helping this matter. I also agree with you on passengers forcing drivers or trotro mates to charge these unapproved fares. But then how do you monitor these compliance, and what is the alternative plan for these unfortunate incidents?
Because we have few terminals that is controlled by the unions. If I say few, the terminals we have, most of where we have the unions operating from, we kind of, when any fare is announced, we have a body that puts everything into perspective and puts it at the terminals for operational purposes. So it's easy for anybody to refer to. And because they are loading from terminals where we have our transport officers there, it's difficult for anybody to just go off overboard and take anything that you want. So that is something that works well within the union stations. But at the bus stops where the free range, where everybody goes there, that is where we have the challenge.
I see. Going forward, what's the plan for GRTCC on these things?
We have suggested time and again to the local government ministry that they should, instead of allocating all the public spaces for 3 days, they should allocate equal number of spaces for transport operations. So we can have a regulated terminal, a terminal that is being regulated by an entity, a registered company, or maybe even the assembly. They can put their structures there. We have various routes and their terminal points. So once we enter in the evening, for instance, we are going to Achimota. You go to where Achimota queue is. You stand there, you load. You can't charge over because there's people there supervising. And once we give that, we prepare that space for passengers to use. It will be very difficult for anybody to come and stand by the roadside to come and load because the enforcement will be there. So that is one thing the local government will have to look at. And maybe with the collaboration of the unions, we'll be able to achieve the kind of results we want.
Do you support the call by AMA to be arresting drivers who charge unapproved fares?
I think I agree with them. I agree with them to do that. Well, if they do that, we are all of us are saying those drivers are not members of the unions. So let's see who belongs to who. If they start arresting them and they see that these people, after all, they are all members of a particular union, then we can call the union to action.
I see. Mr. Boa, let me thank you so much for your time this evening. So that's the General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, Emmanuel Ohene Yeboah. This is 505 on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. While in the greater Kumasi metropolis, the situation is similar as illegal transport fare charges continue to be recorded despite efforts by the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly to curb the practice. For Kumasi, cases have reportedly declined, but the problem has not been completely stopped. The head of KMA's Transport Department, Randy Wilson, explained that some drivers exploit rush hours while others load passengers from the roadside to evade monitoring by the Assembly and Transport Station Executive. He spoke to Class News. Take a listen.
There's been a little reduction in the reportage of illegal charging of lorry fares, but I wouldn't say it is a total stop because we still have some drivers who wouldn't go to the various stations but would load from the roadside. We still have a few of the station drivers who, when the station executives are not there and it's during the rush hour, they would want to do their own thing. And then we've also had a few of the places where the station have decided to add just one city.
Class 91.3 FM.
Now, what we have done in the past, let me give 2 or 3 examples of specifics. We were at Fantasy terminal where they looted cartoons and they had unilaterally put a warning on their fare with the executive. And when we left, we had information that they were charging the new fares that they had put up. And so we put our 3 officers. And what happened is that they get into your vehicle, you charge the unapproved fare, and the vehicle is arrested. We picked a few of them. The rest of the drivers went on ride, protesting against the action, saying that if we do not allow their members to come, then they wouldn't load. I had information from Barikesi area that if they are not going to be allowed to charge aircraft, they were not bringing passengers home. Barikesi is outside KMS jurisdiction, but they still report on some of these things to us.
So that's the head of KMS Transport Department, Randy Wilson, speaking with Class News. Well, Parliament's emergency recall, which began on Monday, August 24, 2026, has been marked by intense political disagreements with key nominations and packed legislative agenda, from the referral of ministerial and Supreme Court nominees to the appointment committee to disagreements between majority and minority over the conduct and pace of business. The 5-day recall has been anything but routine as the House concludes the emergency sitting. Our parliamentary correspondent Zita Okwan takes a look at what has happened in Parliament from the recall on August 24, 2026 to Thursday, August 27, 2026.
Parliament resumed sitting on Monday, August 24, 2026, following an emergency recall by Speaker Alban Sumana Kingsford Backbing to consider urgent parliamentary business. Proceedings on the first day centered on the referral of key presidential nominations to the appointment committee. Parliament also considered the business statement for the emergency sitting, which outlined the key items to be handled during the recall. These included the vetting of ministerial and judicial nominees, consideration of urgent legislation, and the introduction of the Bank and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institution Amendment Bill 2026, as well as the National Petroleum Authority Bill 2026. On Tuesday, August 25, Parliament paid tribute to 2 distinguished personalities, the late Paramount Chief of the Tolon Traditional Area, Nayab Tolon Na Sulemana Abubakar, and the late Savannah Regional Representative of the 9th Council of State, Tingarwa Samson Seidu Abudu. Members from both sides of the House eulogized the 2 statesmen for their service to the nation. Then came the vetting of ministerial nominees. Mahama Yariga had some ideas on how the National Cathedral project should continue if the government, in particular the President and the people of Ghana, do want it.
If you are asking specifically about the National Cathedral that President Nana Akufo-Addo, when he was president, initiated, I also don't think there's any problem with the idea. I think it was a good idea that was badly executed. Otherwise, I don't think there's a problem with having a National Cathedral. I personally had issues with the location. I thought that the location would rather just increase the traffic congestion.
He also explained the position of government on the election of MMDCs.
If we actually, as a country, try to rather define the spheres of executive power and assign what executive power we think should be performed by local government, and therefore we are electing a DCE and he has that executive power irrespective of who is president and what executive power is for a president, and so when we vote him, he doesn't interfere in the area of executive power, and then the citizens know who to hold accountable for what. If we have defined the spheres of influence, you can't be telling that you want the DCE that is reliable, because your sphere of influence is there and then the DCE's sphere of influence is also there.
With Mahama Yariga, the Minister Designate for Local Government, out of the way, Dr. Zinato Ajiman Rawlins, Minister Designate for Environment, Science and Technology, took her seat. She answered a broad range of questions from Galamsey to the environment, climate change, but backed the decision to ban styrofoam and other plastics.
I believe that the EPA just, I think a couple of days ago, was actually in Kumasi raising awareness to the general public on the impending ban on styrofoam. It has to be done. And I think it comes down to a change in behavior. Obviously, behavior change is something that can take time, but it can be incentivized, or it can be, you can put penalties in place. It comes down to how we enforce and the seriousness with which we seek to address this. I stand by the fact that the timeline has to be maintained. It's long overdue.
The vetting of ministerial and Supreme Court nominees was not without controversy in Parliament. In fact, as early as 9:30 a.m. on Thursday, August 27 in the morning, prior to the vetting starting, the minority made their position known. They opposed the attempt to vet the Supreme Court's nominees, while they had no issues with vetting the ministerial nominees. The minority resurrected their position to the vetting proceedings. Their position was simple, that Parliament had to publish the nomination 14 days before the vetting should happen. And this time around, it wasn't done. This, they say, the rule of the House should play. However, the majority insisted that was not the case, that Parliament had indeed actually relaxed the rules. Listen.
The committee resolved that the referral includes the 3 judges' nominees. We cannot therefore discriminate in favor of our colleague nominees and against the 3 judges' nominees. I therefore consider all grounds of the minority leader as flimsy and hollow. I considered his objection to be frivolous, vexatious, unmeritorious, baseless on the facts, the rules, and the law. Therefore, I will accordingly dismiss the objection by the minority leader in limine. Thank you for your rapt attention.
Chairman, with the greatest respect to you, you don't have the power to dismiss a preliminary objection properly raised. I kept quiet.
You called on me.
I didn't call on. I said there's resolve.
Rule
no,
on the
I didn't
matter.
say rule. I said resolve. Don't get me wrong. No, resolve.
Honorable Minority Leader.
No, please.
Let your microphone be off.
No, Chairman, don't start your thing. Don't start it.
The minority leader, Alexander Penyomakin, having been dismissed in terms of the objection, he rised to the voting proceeding, decided that the voting was not worth being part of, and that he and his colleagues in the minority would not be a part of. They proceeded to walk out.
What is happening is unfair, it is improper, it lacks principle. All we want to say is that if you insist, because you are the majority, that we don't need any notice, the very things that you said when you were in opposition, they are no more relevant, and that under reset, you have set in place a new rule, who should be the new president. We are sorry. We cannot be part of it. And to the nominees, with greatest deference to you, we respect you, and we are not opposed to your nomination, but the process by me through which the majority is deciding to use is not known to the parliamentary jurisprudence that we all know. So, Chair, thank you very much.
But the walkout meant just the majority had to vet the 3 Supreme Court nominees, and they proceeded to vet them. All 3 of them took less than 3 hours to fully vet them, answering questions on the court composition, whether the court must be kept and the rights of accused persons. The committee later put together its report and submitted to Parliament despite the minority's walkout. Parliament, however, approved all 5 nominees of President John Mahama barely hours after they were vetted by the Appointment Committee in an exercise characterized by disputes. Speaker Alban Bagbin, in confirming the approval, expressed confidence in the ability of the 2 ministers and 3 Supreme Court judges to deliver to expectation.
This Honorable House has accordingly approved the nomination of His Excellency the President of the following persons as Justices of the Supreme Court in accordance with Article 144, Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution. Honorable members, I will, on behalf of the House, congratulate the nominees for the excellent performance at the public hearing of the committee.
Member of Parliament for Bulsa North, James Agaga, officially assumed office as leader of the Majority Caucus. This follows a communication from the governing NDC to the Speaker of Parliament informing him of changes to the leadership of the party's caucus after the nomination of Kwame Okyere Jnr. as Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. In his remarks, the new Majority Leader, James Agaga, assured the Minority Caucus of his commitment to consensus building in the discharge of his duties.
I'd want to assure Honorable Afenyo-Markin that my approach in this House would hinge first on consensus building. I mean, we can make compromises as and when necessary. And I assure you, I'll give it to you. I would reach out, I would consult, but at the same time, I would work to ensure that the reset agenda of our president is accomplished.
Majority Leader or former Majority Leader Kwame Okyere Jnr. pledged to support James Agaga as he assumes the role of the Majority Leader in Parliament.
What I can say is that democracy will continue to depend on this very House. And I urge colleagues to take the assignment of deepening democracy very seriously. I am leaving as Majority Leader, but I'm not leaving as Member of Parliament. I will still remain a Member of Parliament, a member of the Majority Caucus, and I believe that I will always be here to support and guide the new leader and to support the entire House to achieve its objectives.
A statement from the Minority Leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, says the new Majority Leader can count on his support as he takes on the responsibility of leading the Majority Caucus in Parliament. In a brief comment bidding farewell to Kwame Okyere Jnr., Alexander Afenyo-Markin said differences in political positions will not stifle legislative work under the new majority leadership. He, however, stressed that the primary objective remains moving his side of the minority to majority.
You can find in me a good friend. You see, James, those who have not gone through the process of being leaders will not understand what I'm saying. They have not been part of our club. They are not part of it. So when we are talking about friendship, their interpretation is different. But you will soon be introduced to the code of leadership. And I'm saying that you can find in me a friend. My job is not to obstruct you. My job is to offer a different lens to things you may not see. So don't be worried at all. My job really is to turn this minority into majority. That really is my job.
Parliament subsequently adjourned sine die after considering and approving all 5 nominees.
God bless our homeland, Ghana. The House is accordingly adjourned sine die.
Reporting for Class News, Zita Okwan, Parliament House, Accra.
So that's our parliamentary correspondent Zita Okwan, bringing us a recap of what exactly happened in Parliament this week. This is 505 on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmli.com.
Attention students! CompuGhana back to school season is here! Shop laptops, mobile phones, printers, headphones, power banks, routers, fridges, and all school essentials with exciting discounts of up to 40% from now till 20th September. The new academic year is calling, and this time we are entering on a new level. Charlie, you for level up! Shop at any CompuGhana showroom or online at CompuGhana.com. For inquiries, call 0302-752020 or WhatsApp 0243-143-143. New school, new level. CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Well, 35 minutes after 5, you're on Class 91.3 FM. This is 505. Well, Homo is here, and Ningo and Pram Pram are turning up for it from the 28th to the 29th of August, 2026. Pram Pram Homo kicks off with the experiential center at the Methodist Church. Only good vibes guaranteed. All MTN pulses age 17 to 35 gets to participate in our Pulse Trivia and win amazing prizes such as branded sneakers, water bottles, notebooks, and many others. On the 6th of September, it all comes together for a grand finale. The football gala finals happen in both towns at once. Methodist Park for Pram Pram and DA Basic School Park for Ningo. Games, music, community at MTN right in the middle of it all. Come through and be parts of the moments. This is Homowo, the MTN style. MTN everywhere you go. Well, this week in courts, the Accra High Courts took key decisions in 3 high-profile cases, rejecting a bid to halt the trial of former Signals Bureau Director General Kwame Okyere Jnr, adjourning the trial of Hanan Abdul Wahab Aludiba and his wife Faiza Seydou over lawyers' health concerns, and ordering the prosecution in the Chairman Wontumi case to file disclosures within 14 days. The developments paved the way for the respective cases to proceed, with the Wontumi case expected to move to a case management conference before trial begins. Our court correspondent Mamia Babru filed this report.
The Accra High Court has this week made key decisions in 3 high-profile criminal cases involving former National Signals Bureau Director General Kwame Okyere Jnr, Hanan Abdul Wahab Aludiba, and his wife Faiza Seydou, as well as the former NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entribo-Esiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi. In the case involving Kwame Okyere Jnr and his wife Angela Ajay-Boateng, the courts rejected an application by the former Signals Bureau Director General seeking to halt his trial pending a review application before the Supreme Court. Counsel for Okyere Jnr, Samuel Atachia, had asked the court to adjourn proceedings until September 2, when the Supreme Court is expected to hear a review application filed by Ofuasi Eyirebi MP Kojo Opon-Kroma. He argued that the outcome of the review could have an impact on the ongoing trial. However, Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Shremsai opposed the application, arguing that the prosecution had only 1 more day to close its case. The Deputy Attorney General maintained that the filing of a review application did not automatically suspend proceedings. Justice Francis Achibonga subsequently dismissed the application, saying he had found no rule requiring the trial to be suspended until the circumstances. Okyere Jnr and his wife are standing trial on 11 charges, including conspiracy, stealing, using public office for profit, money laundering, and causing financial loss to the state. They have both pleaded not guilty and are on bail. Meanwhile, the same court adjourned the trial of Hanan Abdul Wahab Aludiba and his wife, Faiza Saidu Wuni, following application on health grounds. The Deputy Attorney General opposed the application, questioning the medical evidence presented by the defense. Dr. Justice Shremsai noted that the letter from counsel for Hanan did not have a medical report attached, while a medical report attached to the application by counsel for Pfizer did not indicate that the person who signed it was a licensed medical practitioner. He also argued that lawyers are generally part of law firms where other counsels can step in when one lawyer is unavailable, warning that repeated adjournments could unnecessarily delay the trial. Justice Francis Achibonga, however, noted that counsel for Hanan had previously shown the court a medical document indicating that he was unwell. The court therefore directed that the medical reports be placed on the docket to assist it in making a fair determination and adjourn the case to August 26. In another major development, the court has ordered the prosecution in the case involving Chairman Wontumi and 2 others to file its disclosures within 14 days. The order followed the expiration of a 30-day period granted to the parties to conclude plea bargaining negotiations. Justice Halima L. Lawal Bassett noted that despite efforts by both sides, the parties had been unable to reach an agreement. With the plea bargaining period now expired, the court directed the prosecution to proceed with its disclosures. The case was subsequently moved to a case management conference before the commencement of trial. Chairman Wontumi and 2 others are facing charges linked to an alleged 14 million Ghana cedis loan obtained from the Export-Import Bank of Ghana, Exim Bank, for a farming project. The 3 cases have therefore recorded significant developments this week, with the courts taking steps to either advance the trial or address applications that could affect their progress. Reporting for Class News, I am Mami Ababriu.
So that's our court correspondent, Mami Ababriu. Let me take you up north because President John Dramani Mahama has cited the North Shore Apparel Hub as an example of how his government's 24-hour economy initiative is expected to create jobs, increase production, and boost Ghana's exports. Speaking at the opening of the facility, President Mahama said the company's plan to operate multiple shifts would create more employment opportunities, particularly for young people. He said a shift system will allow North Shore Apparel to employ more workers while significantly increasing its production capacity for exports. The president said the initiative forms part of government's broader strategy to expand industrial production, create sustainable jobs, and accelerate Ghana's economic growth. Take a listen.
North Shore has made nonsense of all the arguments about factors of production. I remember, and I know that most industrialists, when they come and take a look at Ghana and they come and think about the North, they believe that the factors of production do not favor locating industries here. But North Shore has made nonsense of all that. And I asked Alhaji Nuruddin, I said, how do you bring your supplies and how do you send your finished product? He said, oh, we use the Eastern Corridor. And no, very ingenious. We use the Eastern Corridor. And when we dispatch a truck in the morning, by dusk, it is in Tema. And I can assure you it will even be shorter because the remaining segments of the Eastern Corridor, which is the Nkwanta to Damanko stretch, are currently being worked on very seriously. And so by the first quarter of next year, the whole of the Eastern Corridor from Nakpanduri to through Atimpoku to Tema roundabout would have been done. And so your goods will arrive in an even shorter time than they currently arrive. And so you took a very good decision. It means that several more young people will get jobs to do. And it's not only North Shore, there are several other factories that are coming up that are going to run multiple shifts and create businesses for our people. And so the 24-hour economy is designed to achieve the creation of jobs and accelerated exports. And North Shore certifies both because it's created at least 2,000 jobs already, and the bulk of its products are going to be exported to bring foreign exchange into Ghana.
You heard President John Dramani Mahama. For his part, the presidential advisor on the 24-hour economy initiative, Guzi Tando, has disclosed that North Shore Apparel is expected to create about 10,000 direct jobs when the factory reaches full production capacity. Speaking at the opening of the North Shore Apparel Hub in Sabalogu today, August 28, 2026, Mr. Tano said the project's employment strategy also includes persons with disability.
Today, in fulfillment of that commitment, we commissioned an export garment factory in Sabalogu, financed by the Ghana Export-Import Bank, with support from the German government. The German government's investing for employment facility. At full capacity, North Shore Apparel expects to employ about 10,000 people directly. Among them will be persons with disabilities. This particular inclusion of differently able persons in the workforce of North Shore Apparel is eminently commendable and a shining example for corporate Ghana to follow. We at the 24-hour Economy Secretariat are confident that the North Shore Apparel, as an integral anchor in North Shore Light Industrial Park, will grow and be an example that draws further manufacturing and investment in the central and northern half of our dear country. And that the young people in these areas will build their futures around the economic opportunities that will be created over the next few years. I will be remiss, Your Excellency, if I fail to thank Yona, Abdullah Yakubu and Dani for granting the 24-hour office 1,000 acres of land proximate to North Shore Apparel, on which the North Shore Light Industrial Park will be located. The North Shore example demonstrates vividly what President Mahama's reset agenda is about. Private capital, enabled by government policy to implement Ghana's transformation agenda through investment, real capital formation, job creation, and inclusive economic growth.
So that's the presidential advisor on the 24-hour economy.
Chilling with friends. Take chuck your hunger. Break time, please. Mini me, achomo. Mini me, achomo. Come and taste the fun. Mini me, achomo. Come and taste the fun. For the laughter. Mini me, achomo. All the parties. Mini achomo. Let's go dancing. Mini achomo. Taste the fun. Mini achomo.
This advert is FDA approved.
Bro driver, can I send Momo to your personal number?
Oh, sister, Debio, just scan my GHQR code or send to my merchant ID.
Oh, okay.
Nice one. Customer. And thank you for the 5 stars too.
Of course. You've given me good service and an even simpler way to pay. I like your movement, pan.
Online drivers and Pragear drivers. Every fare you collect with Momo moves you up the leaderboard and closer to amazing prizes.
Register at any MTN office with your registered business certificate
and sign up to become a Momo merchant driver today. Ride all the way with Momo. Terms and conditions apply.
You're welcome back from that quick commercial break. Just about 48 minutes after 5. The Dr. Jailer family in Bato in the North Tong districts of the Volta region is appealing to the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, to intervene and help bring the remains of their son who was shot to death during the height of the xenophobic attacks in South Africa back to Ghana for burial. The family says their son was allegedly attacked and killed in South Africa in April this year. According to them, despite several efforts to have the remains repatriated to Ghana, those attempts have so far proved unsuccessful, leaving them distressed and unable to give their son a befitting burial. They are therefore calling on the Foreign Affairs Minister to use his office to engage the relevant authorities in South Africa to facilitate the return of the remains. And this reports, my colleague Charles Akrofi spoke to the family here in Ghana who shared their pain and frustrations over the situation.
For close to 5 months, the family of Doche Ejay in Bato in the northern district of the Volta region say they've been living with pain words cannot adequately describe. Nash Amonu Jailer, a Ghanaian IT expert and businessman, was reportedly attacked and killed by a group in East London, South Africa in April this year, at the height of reported xenophobic attacks while returning home from work. Nash was the backbone of his family. He was the breadwinner who supported his mother, father, and 5 younger siblings, helping to provide for their needs, getting his younger siblings educated, and ensuring the family could survive. Today, that support system is gone.
Oh yeah, bro. Me back.
His mother, Patience Doche Ejay, says the family can no longer provide for themselves as they used to and are now surviving largely through the kindness and benevolence of others.
We've used all our monies to buy stuff for his burial, so now we have nothing to survive on. We are very hungry.
For a mother who has lost her son under such tragic circumstances, the emotional pain appears even more unbearable. Patience says she barely sleeps, constantly haunted by thoughts of how her son was killed and the painful reality that she will never see him alive again. At this point, she says, her only wish is simple: to have the remains of her beloved son brought home to Ghana.
Ibrahim Mahama. Minantia so buapa. Ana Ghana for nyina no betimi abua me no. Misra se omo fa me ba no bra mi. Onipa wa se na yesi no se minum. Se South Africa for they to achieve a view. Se odasu wo mochiro mentimi ho.
And so I caught up with the family in Ashaiman. Although Patience normally lives in Bato with her husband, she has temporarily moved in with her daughter, Linda, in Ashaiman. Linda, the second child of the family, recently got married and is now living with the husband in Ashaiman. She says she had to bring her mother to stay with her because she feared the pain and loneliness could take a toll on her. Even as she battles her own grief, Linda says her husband has become a major source of support for the family, helping them cope with life after the loss of Nash. For the Doche Jailer family, the loss of Nash is not only the loss of his son and brother. It is a loss of a provider, a protector, and a man who had dedicated 12 years of his life in South Africa to building a future for his family back home. But months after his death, the family says they are yet to bring his remains home. They are therefore appealing to the Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, to intervene and help facilitate the repatriation of Nash Amonu Jailer's remains from South Africa.
We are pleading to you. Please bring the remains of my brother. He needs to be buried, just like any other Ghanaian who died in the process. So please, help us. I need my brother. I want to bury him. Please help us.
Oh yeah, bro. Me back. Oh yeah, bro. Me back.
Charles Akrofi's report for Class News.
Well, so that's a report put together by my colleague Charles Akofi. Of course, very emotional one. Of course, I want to call on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to come to the aid of this family. It's time for business, and Veronica Amade is here.
And in business news tonight, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Export-Import, Sylvester Mensah, has disclosed that the bank has reset and redefined its lending scope to align with the government's vision of driving economic transformation. Speaking at the opening of the North Shore Apparel Hub, a facility under Ghana's 24-hour economic initiative on Friday, August 28, Mr. Mensah said the bank's financing decisions are now firmly anchored on the potential impact of projects on the economy. He stressed that Ghana Exim Bank does not lend based on sentiment but carefully directs its limited resources towards businesses and projects capable of generating significant economic value. To some other stories, the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Companies has backed the ongoing microfinance sector reforms but is calling for an orderly transition to protect existing institutions, jobs and financial inclusion. Speaking at the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans Company 16th Annual General Meeting, Board Chairman Dr. Fred Safo Kantanka says it is concerns about the capital and liquidity constraints facing some operators and the practical implications of the reforms. Meanwhile, the association says its financial performance improved significantly in 2025, with total income rising from 932,000 Ghana cedis to 1.84 million and its surplus increasing from 149,000 to 373,000, making total assets which grew to 1.18 million Ghana cedis.
We believe that a successful reform is not merely about changing the regulatory structure. It is about building stronger institutions within that structure. The audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2025 demonstrate a significant improvement in the association's financial position. Total income increased from 972,207 Ghana cedis in 2024 to 1,839,000 in 2025. Membership dues increased from 542,500 Ghana cedis to 807,500 Ghana cedis in 2025, while other income increased from 429,000 Ghana cedis to 1,032,400 in 2025. The association reported a surplus of 373,433 in 2025 compared with 149,029 in 2024. Total assets also increased from 690,621 Ghana cedis to 1,180,000 Ghana cedis in 2025, while the accumulated fund increased to 1,001,000 Ghana cedis in 2025.
You had the board chairman of the Ghana Association of Savings and Loans and Companies. Now, let's move to the international business because the federal government has called for inputs from Nigerians and other stakeholders ahead of the drafting of the Finance Bill 2027. The Federal Ministry of Finance made a call in a notice posted on its official X handle on Friday, inviting members of the public, businesses, investors, professional bodies, civil society organizations, academia, public institutions, and other stakeholders to submit proposals. The ministry says submission should focus on practical, evidence-based legislative or regulatory reforms that strengthen Nigeria's fiscal framework and improve the business and investment environment. And that's it for business news. Back to you, KOJ.
Thank you, Veronica Amade, for bringing us business. Let's do some few messages. This one said the state should deal with the recalcitrant drivers before it is too late, because this morning a driver of Sprinter bus with the registration number GN3433-14 loaded from a Sherman runabout overcharged the passengers with impunity. So that's it there. So Ghana Police, that's the number GN3433-14. It was registered in 2014. Please arrest this driver because he's been charging unapproved fares. So that's it. The Sefa G in Whole Central says that I dare Marking to proceed to court like they did on occasions of a member presiding and voting and vacating of seats on crossing carpets by an MP in Parliament. We are told there was an agreement and conclave with the Speaker to factor in vetting of the Supreme Court justice alongside the ministerial nominees. So why was Stephen Makin making those noise? After all, the standing orders of Parliament cast in stone. That's a question she's asking. Francis in Accra says, hi KOJ, to the MPP and its party executive to think if they think the way they're talking, the convincing floating voters who voted for NDC to come to power and save our democracy to restore good governance, well, they can't be taking themselves to win 2028 election, not until we the floating voters go to sleep. So that's what he shares. But that's my time is up. Let me go. On behalf of my team, led by Nano Yankra, produced by Norende Raja Crunchy, I'm grateful for your company in the last 60 minutes. My name is Kwame Okyere Jnr. Let's meet again on Monday at 5 p.m. here on Class 91.3. I leave in the hands of Mr. Mauto, who will drive you home safely. Until then, good evening, good night.
Bringing you the best in